Hey everybody, Marlett here, and welcome to Billfold 2.0. What is this? Well, Billfold is a trick that I created over 5 years ago, maybe 6-7 years ago, and then I released it to you guys about 5 years ago, and this is 2.0. So over those last 5 years, since the first version, I've come up with a number of different ideas and presentations and handlings, and I've redefined the gimmick a little bit, and I have taken your notes, because one of the notes was that it was a little too loud because of the magnets. I've simplified it and streamlined it, where now it's much quieter, and that's what this is. And over the last 5 years, it has changed from being just an effect to more of a utility device. So there's so many applications you can do with this, and a lot of things that I'm going to be teaching you guys today that are not only just like a build change or a card change, but there's a mentalism effect, a moving, jumping ink routine, a bill split routine, a bunch of different things, and then a bunch of ideas just to kind of spark some stuff with you guys and kind of, hopefully inspire you to create some stuff of your own, utilizing this principle itself and also the gimmick that you receive. So let's talk about what you got in your envelope. All right, so let's talk about what you received in the package. It's ready to go. You don't have to build anything. All you have to do is supply the dollar bill or the note or the euro or the pound. It doesn't matter. All you have to supply is your bill or a piece of paper. It doesn't matter if it's plastic, paper, anything will work. Just to show you what it looks like in action is you take a playing card, you take it, and it turns into a dollar bill, right? Looks pretty good, super visual. You get in clean, just like this. Now you're clean, and that's what the effect is. So the gimmick itself is this. Now this is for the main routine. This is what I taught on Billfold number 1. Is a playing card that has been hinged, so it falls down, and on the back, now this is the new version of the gimmick. Before, it had a magnet up here at the top and a magnet here at the bottom. But the problem is that it was really loud. And the reason why it was loud is the reason why this works is it's centrifugal force. So when I pull the bill apart, it's swinging the card, the gimmick, shut. And what helped allow that to happen was the weight of the magnet. And when it would click, it would make a clicking noise. Now, I personally enjoyed that. I actually intentionally had that. Because one, it sounded like the bill being pulled apart, and two, it really made this sound of magic. It was like an audible cue, and I thought that was really cool, and I hadn't really seen a lot of effects like that, but some people didn't enjoy that, and they thought it gave away the effect. So I took the notes from everybody and who bought it and who enjoyed it, and I've simplified it. So what this is, now there's a much smaller magnet here at the top, and there's also a washer down here at the bottom. So that washer acts as the weight, and then it locks into the magnet, and it's much, much quieter. So in your package, you received 2 different washers. One's a little smaller and a little thinner, one's a little thicker. You're gonna be able to utilize both of these with different routines. Depending on the material you're using, throughout these routines I'll be teaching you, you may not even need the washers at all, and some of them you might need the washers for. And you're also getting a few magnets, and yet again, some routines you only need one magnet, some routines you're going to need both magnets. It just depends on what gimmick you're making and what it's made out of. But for the main routine, the one that you received in the package, it's already pre-made. There's a washer and the magnets. Okay. Now the only thing, like I said, you had to supply is the dollar bill, and the only utility that you need is some double-sided tape. Okay. You could also use glue dots or repositionable glue, whatever you have laying around the house. Double-sided tape is fine. So this is what's going to happen. You're going to take your bill, and I'll show the close-up camera here. Let me get all this out of the way. So here's your bill. Here's your gimmick. On the magnetic side, you're going to add a few pieces of double-sided tape. And the only thing that you want to worry about is you don't want any double-sided tape going over the seam, because that will make it not be able to close because it's taped shut or tape open, basically. And that's it. And so you just put a couple pieces there, really push it down because you want it to stick to the card, not the dollar bill. And then you're going to take your bill. Now you can pre-fold this if you wish. Basically what you're going to do is fold it in thirds, like that. Right? Fold in thirds and give it a nice crease. And then you're going to fold those thirds onto themselves. So here's a third, and I'm going to fold it back onto itself. Nice crease. Here's a third, I'm going to fold it back over onto itself. Now the key here is that you want to fold one a little overlapped onto the other. So let me get it down and I'll show you what that looks like. So as you can see, this, my right here, this side overlaps the left. And what that allows is, as long as I apply pressure on the right-hand side, it allows this left-hand side to prevent it from flying up and getting all wonky. So it just allows that to happen. You don't necessarily need to do that. I don't always do that if I'm in a rush or something, but it does definitely help. Okay, so now you're ready to go. You're going to take your bill and whatever the, like in America we have the president, whatever the head side is, you're gonna make sure that is going to go face up, and you want the head side or the upright position to go on the side with the double-sided tape. Okay, so I'll show you what that looks like. So you're just gonna line it up nice and close to the edge, right there, and you're just gonna push, 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 make sure it's really nice and on there, and that's it. Now you're ready to go. So now you're gonna hold the bill upside down. You're gonna fold it over in third, fold it over on itself, fold it over in third, fold it over on itself. And now to do the reveal, it's kind of like a tourniquet or newspaper. All you have to do is put your thumb into that first fold, fingers on the front, thumb into that first fold, fingers on the front, and you take your two index fingers and you put them on top and you pull. So now I'm gonna do it in slow motion. It won't work because it's slow, but I'm pulling, 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 and it naturally just rotates because of the crisscross of my fingers. And if I was to do this quickly, this would have swung up and connected. So let me show you in speed. You're here, 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 boom, right? Now it's connected. So once again, show you, fold it in third, fold it on top of itself, fold it in third, fold it on top of itself. So now during performance, and I'll go over this, I get my fingers in positions, but I do it in steps. So at first I go, wouldn't it be crazy if this was your card, yada, yada, yada. Now I'm set in here, and I go, was your card the Queen of Hearts? And they go, no, and I go, oh no. I get now I'm ready to go, and I go, well now, you must get the dollar bill, and I open it up. And then the cleanup, it's very simple, not only because this has a magnet in it, that's why I supplied you two washers, so you can also put the one washer into your back pocket, so you can ditch this, but also it has double-sided tape on it, so you can just stick it to your butt. So I go here. What's crazy is, look in your hand, they open up their hand, that gives me all the misdirection in the world to peel this dollar bill off from the gimmick. I can drop this down to my side and either use the washer to stick it, or most of the time I just stick it to my pants because of the double-sided tape. It sticks, and now I in clean, they can look at everything, and you're ready to go. So that's how the main version of this effect works. Now what's really fun about this is everything that I just explained, for the most part, every single version that I'm going to show you today all works on that same principle, where there's a magnet and basically a weight on the other side, and the reveal works all by folding it in thirds and pulling it apart, right? So I would say 90% of them all work that way. The only difference is I'm going to show you a couple build changes that works that way, but there's one little alteration to it. But that being said, let's get into the main routine, Billfold 1.0, I guess, which is a card to bill routine. So let's talk about the main routine. This was the whole purpose of me creating Billfold. It is a playing card to dollar bill transposition that happens in the spectator's hands. So you need a couple things for this. You're gonna need two duplicates. Well, I guess one duplicate. One comes in the deck, CD2 of the same card. You need $2 bills, one that is gonna be in play, and then one for your gimmick. So you're gonna set up your gimmick just like I showed you before, which is the washer on the top, magnet, a bill attached with double-sided tape, ready to be launched into it, okay? So you're gonna have that set up, and that's gonna go on the bottom of your deck. And then you're going to take your force card, and you're gonna force it in whatever way you want. So today we're just using a riffle force, but you can do a classic force, whatever you want. What's great is because the gimmick is on the bottom, it's pretty, hidden. No one can really see it. And I'll just show you a really cool, fun thing in a second with that. So this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna take your other duplicate, and you're gonna fold it in the fours, just like so, just like this. and now you have your dollar bill. So you're gonna start off by basically doing kind of like a sponge ball move, right? So you're gonna go, here's the thing. Here's a dollar bill, or you can use fives or whatever, hundreds or whatever you want. In a second, you're gonna hold out your hand, and I'm gonna give you this dollar bill to hold on to. And then I'm gonna have you pick a card. If I, for some reason, can't find your card, you get the dollar bill. Sound good? Sounds good. And as you're doing this, you're folding up. So you're basically gonna do like a sponge ball move meets bill switch of some sort, right? So show the close up here. So you're over here. You're holding the duplicate card here. You're folding it over, folding it down, folding it over, right? So now you're ready to go. And then you're also gonna do kind of like a billet switch if you're familiar with billet switch. So this is the spectator's hand. I'm gonna go in with the dollar bill. And when I go into the dollar bill, I said hold out your hand flat. I'm gonna come in with the dollar bill. And when I'm going in, I'm actually pulling back the bill and pushing forward the playing card. So my thumb pushes the card up, my fingers pull back the dollar bill. But in speed, this is what's gonna happen. So if this is spectator's hand, I saw, look, here's the dollar bill. Hold out your hand, I say, hold on to that bill, right? So you've kind of done like a bill switch / sponge ball move sort of type of thing. So you're here in speed, here's the dollar bill, here's the dollar bill, this goes in, hold on to that, perfect, right? So now they're holding on to it, they're squeezing it nice and tight, they don't know what they have, but they think they have the dollar bill. I have a dollar bill hidden in my hand. When I go in my pocket to get out the deck of cards, I just drop this off. So I will show you all once here in a little bit. So that was phase one. Now it's time for phase two, which is now forcing the card and then doing the actual visual trick. So let's say you just, you show the cards, they're all different, yada, yada, yada. I'm gonna go like this, you tell me when to stop. If you don't know the riffle force, it's very simple. You riffle the cards, they say stop, and as you take off this top packet, in reality, you're just holding onto the top card to force the card. So your force card's on top, I'll do it face up so you can see. Riffle, riffle, riffle. I take all the cards except for the top card, now forcing the 10 of diamonds, right? But you could also do a classic force, any type of force that you want. So they pick the 10 of diamonds, which I've just now lost. They pick the 10 of diamonds. So riffle force, right? Take a look at that. Perfect. Now here's the really fun part. I get so excited when I perform this part. This goes back in the deck, and I go, look, I'm gonna try to find your card. If I can't, you gotta keep that dollar bill that you're holding on to. This is the most fun part, because I'll perform it for you first, okay? So I'm gonna go through the deck, and I'm gonna try to find a card. I think this is your card, and now I have the gimmick. That's so fun, because it looks as though I'm going through and pulling a card from the middle. In reality, I'm pulling the bottom card into the middle and then pulling it out. So I'll show you one more time what that looks like in speed. I think it's this one. I'm cutting to a card, and now I have the gimmick. It's really fun, so I'll show you. So what's happening here is I'm spreading, kind of haphazard, kind of messy. I push the gimmick over with my right thumb. I contact it with my left. I take all the cards from that kind of position, put them on the front, and it looks as though I've cut. So in reality, what it's supposed to look like is that I go, this is the card, and I'm cutting to that card. But in reality, what I'm doing is I'm spreading, I push over, I take all these cards and put them right on top. And it looks as though I've now cut to a random card in the middle. In reality, I've just taken the bottom card from the bottom and just pulled it off, it's really fun. It's a sneaky little move. So last time here, so it spread, I don't know, I think maybe this card, right? Yeah, I think this is good. Now I have the gimmick. Now I'm ready to go, right? And just like earlier when I showed you, I go, here's the thing. If I don't get it, you get that. Okay, so look at me. I get in position number one. My thumb and index finger are ready to go. And then I go, was it the X card? Now the whole point here is that you want to miscall the card. You don't want to say the 10 of diamonds, because then they're going to go, oh, you got it right. So something drastically different. So is it the king of clubs? And they go, no. And I go, really? I guess that means you get the dollar. This is a huge moment. They freak out. They go crazy. They're not expecting this. It's a highly visual moment for them. And I go, if the dollar bill is here, that must mean, and I let them finish the thought process. And they open up their hand, and they now see a folded up playing card in their hand. They unfold it, and it's the 10 of diamonds. And that gives you all the time in the world, if you wish, to peel this gimmick off and go south with it, or just palm it in your hand. All right, so let's get into some other ideas and utilizations of this gimmick. I'm going to show you something with a build change first because the next few kind of work on the same principle, and we'll go from there. So it is a dollar bill. You fold the dollar bill in half, get in starting position, and it turns into 100, right? Pretty rad, pretty simple. It's direct, you win clean just like the other version with the playing card. It's exactly the same thing. There's only a slight difference. So this is what the gimmick is. So you have your non-gimmick $100 bill, or whatever you want to use. And now you have the dollar bill here. So basically what I've done is I've folded the dollar bill in half, and then in half again, okay? So again, in half, and half again. And on the bottom half, I've put one magnet, and on the top half, I put another magnet. So when you put it together, they lock in place. And then on the middle edge, top half, I've added the double-sided tape. Okay, so let me show you that one more time. So I've taken the bill, I fold it in half, I fold it in half again. Once it's in this position, on one side I put a one magnet, on the other side I put another magnet, so now it's connected, it's locked in place, sandwiched together. On the half that has the actual fold itself, I put double-sided tape. And then the only other thing that I've done is I've put a little piece of double-sided tape on one end. It doesn't matter which end. So basically what that allows is when I fold this in half and we do the change, it won't flap open, because if it flaps open, it won't work. Now you don't have to use double-sided tape here. You can use repositionable glue stick, or I've even used like chapstick in the past, just something tacky that holds it together, basically. That's all you want. So to do the setup, I fold it in half. I take the top half with the double-sided tape and the top magnet, and I put my $100 bill or whatever bill or paper you're changing this into. So here's the double-sided tape, here is the bottom magnet. I am putting the face, the upright of the dollar bill onto this section, okay? So you're just gonna line that, I'll get this all out of the way. You're just gonna line that up on the fold itself. What's kind of nice is because it's on the fold, the lineup doesn't really have to be ultra clean because it doesn't matter very much, because you're never gonna see it. So now we're here, and just like the playing card version, you're gonna fold it in thirds, fold it on top of itself, like so. Fold it in thirds, fold it on top of itself. So just like the playing card version, you're gonna get your thumb inside, finger on top, other fingers in front. You're gonna pull it, and it folds up on itself. But that's the addition to this version and kind of the next few versions. Because we've separated the magnets, well, one is here and one is here. Because if I were just to open it like the playing card version, now it would show, it would stick out from the top. So we need the bill itself to fold over on itself one more time, so it makes it a smaller packet, okay? So that's why the magnets are separated, and that's what they're holding. And on this version, we're just using the two small magnets, one here, one here. You don't need the washers because it's paper money and it folds easier, okay? So I'll start from the top. We get in starting position. Now we're here. So we have the dollar bill, we fold it in half. As you crease the edge here, I'm applying a little bit of pressure here so the double-sided tape or the chapstick or whatever sticks to itself. I rotate it onto its side. I get into starting position with my thumbs, my fingers, I pull, and it changes, okay? And then yet again, like the playing card version, you can palm this off and you end completely clean. This has the double-sided tape, this has the magnet, you can go south with it. So that's a really highly visual build change. Now, I want to point out something that you may have not noticed. What I really love about Billfold is, if you think about it, it's pretty rad because it changes orientation. And if you haven't noticed, I'll show you one more time with the playing card version from earlier, because it's kind of, it's super magical in that sense that it changes orientation. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'll just set this up really quickly. So the playing card is held vertically, but when the bill appears, it goes horizontally. So somehow the item not only changes from smaller to bigger, but it also changes orientation in your hands, which is really cool. right? So if you haven't noticed, like that's pretty rad. Like that, I think it makes it way more magical. And also I love that it goes from, because it's very easy to make a small item, it's a big item go to a small item, but in this case, a small item goes to big. So there's like a lot of psychology behind it that I think really makes it good. So anyway, that happens with the build change as well. So that's how you do build change. Same thing I'm going to show you here is like a jumping ink routine. So let me perform it for you first. So you have a heart and an arrow. I'm going to fold it in half. Just focus on the drawing, and the ink jumps over to itself, right? So same thing, same exact setup as the bill change. What I've done here is I've taken just 2 pieces of paper, cut them to the size of bills. Let me peel this off. Here's my gimmick. This is exactly how the $1 bill was set up from a moment ago. I fold it in half. I fold it in half on itself one more time. I add a magnet here, double-sided tape on the folded side. I take my final reveal, which is the moving object. I put that down, put that on top of each other. Even what's better about this is it's white paper on white paper, so you don't really have to worry about any seams leaking over on itself because it blends in so much. So you push that in nice and good. Fold it over on itself, fold it over on itself. I've added a little bit of double-sided tape here, right here. So you show the drawing, and you can even, what's nice about this, you can even do this in front of it. So as long as you palm or kind of hide this, or even put it on the table and draw it, they won't be able to see the gimmick, which is a lot of fun. So you can fold it over, crease it here, at the same time applying pressure here, turn it on its side, get it in position, boom, right? And it all locks up nice and clean at the bottom, at the back. Yet again, you can peel this off. You now are clean. They can look at everything, right? So it's exactly like the build change, but now you can make any object that you want. So, and it could be reversed. So you could have like a bird in a bird cage off to one side, open it up, and now the bird is free, right? Or vice versa. Or you could have jumping initials, a card reveal, as I mentioned earlier, a mentalism reveal. So something I've done in the past is I've drawn a crystal ball. I've folded in half, and I sit this down, even with the gimmick. Force a playing card. When I open up the paper, it's now revealed in the crystal ball. What's cool about that is in reality, it looks like for the spectators that you've taken one single piece of paper, you've folded it in half, when you open it, the ink has now moved. So they don't know, obviously, that you've actually switched it for a completely different piece of paper. And that's what's so clever about it. And that principle, I'll just kind of go off on a tangent right now, that principle can be utilized for so many things, right? You could have one routine my friend Trig Watson and I were discussing the other day with this is you have a wallet with some cash inside, and you have someone sign a $1 bill while the gimmick is on it, right? So like, for example, you would sign this $1 bill. You would sign it. Sign. I show my wallet beforehand, you sign. I do the exchange. The signature now has vanished. So that's trick number 1. Their signature just magically, visibly has vanished from the bill. I then palm this off, and when I pick up the wallet, which is like a card to wallet, I now load this $1 bill inside, and now their signed signature has vanished from one bill and appeared on another bill inside my wallet with the rest of my cash, which is like a weird premise, but it's really fun. So there's so many things you can do with it. So yet again, like there's like the crystal ball idea, or you can just do a simple thing, right? I don't know if you guys know any like the psychological forces, like the elephant force, or like the indigo force, like David Blaine used. But basically you could do that, right? So you could take a blank piece of paper, fold it in half, and think of I don't want to expose it because it's not my method, but you could basically force anything you want. You could use a spin pad or anything like that. You open up the piece of paper, and now it's written nice and big across the paper, which is super fun. So you could use this as a great way to do just a one-to-one transposition where in their eyes nothing has actually happened. One other thought I had was like a signature. A serial number exchange, right? So you borrow a $1 bill, you switch it for the gimmick, When you open it up, now the serial number has now changed without them knowing, and now that matches a prediction that you've had this entire time. So there's a lot of fun things that you can do where it's just like a one-to-one exchange where they don't actually realize anything has actually changed. But in a way, you've actually switched it for a dollar bill that's maybe now a gimmick or something to that matter. So that's so a bill change and a drawing movement thing. This is a fun one. This is this one you're gonna need the 2 magnets and the weight. And it's exactly the setup that we have. So I have a $5 bill. I fold it in half. I fold it in half. I fold it in half again. On one side, I put both magnets, and on the other side, I put the larger washer because you need that weight for this one. Okay. So on one side, I have both magnets. On this side, I have the larger washer. Okay. And then in the inside, I've also added the double-sided tape like earlier. Now, this is the fun part. You take 5 single dollar bills and you fold them all just like normal. So third onto itself, third onto itself. Okay. Then that gets double-sided tape. So what I do is I take the rest of the ones away and I take just a single one and I put the double-sided tape onto the gimmick. And yet again, just like before, you're going to do this on the side where the fold is. So you put the double-sided tape, put the dollar bill here, push it down nice and good, and you take your other bills that you've already pre-folded. This is a great like social media, like Instagram trick. It still works in real life, but it's a little more angle sensitive because of the thickness. So it's kind of good just for social media as well. So now you're here. So now you have this like big wad of cash. That's why I said it's a little more angle sensitive. So yet again, you're all set up and ready to go. Fold it in half, give it a nice crease over here. In reality, you're actually squeezing over here. Rotate it, get your thumbs in position, but this time you're getting go under all of those 5 bills. And just like before, you unfold, right? And then you spread, you have 5 ones, right? So that's a bill split, and that can be done with different denominations. And if you think about it, if you're like in Europe or something, you use euros, these don't all have to be the same size, right? So you could, in theory, have like, I don't know, I think it's like a 50 euro here, a 50 euro here, and then in the middle you have like smaller denominations or, you know, something like that, right? So it doesn't have to be all the same size. So there's that. This is a fun version. If you're over the age of 18, you probably get a lot of these in the mail like I do, which is these fake credit cards that come in like credit card offers. So these are cardboard or paper credit cards. I've basically made the playing card version out of one of these. So I've taken it, cut it in half, put a piece of tape here so it hinges forward. So you can bring this out of your wallet, or if you have like an old debit card or something that is expired, you can make it out of that. Same thing, right here, pull it, it connects, right? So it's the exact same version as the playing card, just with the fake credit card, right? So there's that. Here's a fun version with Skittle wrappers, a Skittle wrapper. This one is like the bill change. So you fold it in half, fold it in half again, magnet, okay? So let me get some tape. You get your dollar bill, put it face up on top, push, fold it over on its third, over itself, third onto itself. You peel it off, and just like before, I've added a little bit of double-sided tape here. So I fold it in half, I push, fold. Now it's going to fold itself in half because of the weight. I get in position, I unfold it, and it locks in place like that, right? It's all about that speed and that inertia, right? Boom, right? And yet again, you peel it off, and you're done, okay? So that is just some ideas with this. I've also worked on ideas where it's like, utilizing this principle where you have like an origami heart and it instantly unfolds. I've worked on the bill and lemon routine where yet again I switch it for a signed dollar bill to a non-signed dollar bill, and I have that signed dollar bill, and that can go into a bill. There's just so many applications with this principle of using like washers and magnets and inertia and folds that I know you guys are going to come up with a ton of routines. But these are some of the ones that I've come up with over the last 5 years that I'm really, really excited about, and I'm excited to share those with you guys. So thanks for watching Billfold 2.0. So even though I've given you a pre-made gimmick ready to go, over time that will wear out. Okay, so I'm going to show you exactly how to make one from scratch, just so you have it. I'm going to go all the way from scratch. Let me tear this one apart. And also over time, like I said, it will wear out, and most importantly, you don't want this crease to be bad. So that is the number one thing. I mean, really, you can get, I don't know, 50, to 100 performances out of this before it gets, even noticeable, and then you probably get another 50 before it gets too bad, right? So what you do is take a playing card, and you should be very careful, but you need a razor blade, X-Acto knife, whatever you have laying around the house. So what I do is I make a template for myself, half a card, and I do that by taking a card and folding it exactly in half. Fold in half, fold in half, half, and then I wear it out. So I go back and forth, and then I just tear it. You could also cut it if you wish, but it doesn't really matter that much. So now I have my template, right? So once you have your template, you take your card that you're gonna make the gimmick from. Now what's fun about this, it doesn't matter what card it is, it can be a joker because no one's actually ever gonna see the face in this particular version. So you take your template. If you want, if you're paranoid, you can double-sided tape this to it, but it doesn't really matter because it doesn't have to be that exact. So what I do is I put it face down, the template, so I can have a better view. Put it here, I take my razor blade, X-Acto knife, whatever, be very careful. If you don't know, playing cards are made out of 3 layers, right? Top, bottom, and then a middle core. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna cut through the face and the middle core, but we're not gonna cut all the way through, because if we cut all the way through, it would be cut in half. And what this allows is for it to hinge nice and freely, so boom, 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 but it doesn't allow for a bad crease because it's just that first thin layer. So it allows, so anytime you make flap cards or, elastic flap cards or anything like that, this is what you want to do so you don't have a nasty crease. So you take it and you just have to go over it and apply a little bit of pressure, not too hard because yet again, you don't want to go through. And I just do that a couple times, like that. And then you're gonna very carefully, fold it in half. And you're just gonna let it kind of crease on itself. Right? And you can actually look at it to see if you didn't go through any sections. So like I can see here that I missed a section. So I'm gonna go back. I don't even need my template anymore because I can see the crease. I'm just gonna apply a little bit more pressure so then I can get through those 2 layers because I missed part. That should be good. Yeah, that's good. So now it folds really nicely, right? So then on one end, depending on the routine you're going to use, so let's say the dollar bill to the card to bill routine. On one side, we're going to tape our washer. Now, I'm using gaff tape because I use gaff tape for everything. If you don't know what gaff tape is used for the stage productions and electrical stuff because it's like fabric tape. But you can use duct tape or duct tape. It's great. So duct tape is awesome. So what I do is I fold it over, and then I get my magnet. And I let my magnet click to it, and then I push it down. And yet again, depending on which version you do, if you're going to use like the bill version or something like that, you would do it the way we talked about earlier. But in this case, here we go. So now we have our gimmick, and it's not that bad of a crease because we've only cut through 2 layers, and it still folds and locks in place. So that's how you make your own once the one I give you eventually wears out.